Okay, I'm going to try to express this in a way that can be fully understood. Noah's Ark, when it started to rain, okay, the rain was hitting the boat. It was going down the boat. It was landing on the boat. And it was underneath the boat. So it was on top of the boat, all the way around the boat. It was completely bombarding this boat. Oh, but the boat was sealed. The boat was protected. But as the rain fell, the waters rose. And the boat rose only because of this rain that was bombarding it, lifted it. And so the boat didn't come out of the wrath that fell. It stayed in it the whole time. So the whole time when it kept being lifted, it was in the wrath. The wrath was hitting it, the wrath was falling on it, but it was protected. And so it went through the wrath. And the only reason why the boat was lifted is because of the wrath. Because the wrath kept rising. That's, it didn't ascend out of the wrath. It was staying in the wrath. That's what was lifting the boat. And in Book of Peter it says, wherein few 8 souls were saved by water. The rest were killed by water. So I'm going to explain that later on. They were saved by water. But anyways, the boat didn't fly up out of the water. It stayed in the water. And so it went through the whole ordeal. It didn't leave out of here. Okay, here's the story of Lot. It rained fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah. But it also tells you that it rained on the neighboring plain and the surrounding area. Okay. I'm going to read something to you. It says in Genesis 19, Lot's talking to the angels, and Lot says, let me go to this small town, and behold, thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me, and I die there. There's the mountain. Behold, now this city, this one right here, this is what he's saying. This city is near to flee unto. Okay, it's near. It is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. It is not a little one, and my soul shall live. And he said unto him, see, I have accepted thee. This is the angel talking to him. Concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for the which thou hast spoken. Okay, he's not going to overthrow this city. But the sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. That's the name of this little town. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And they overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the city and that which grew upon the ground. So all of this, all of the neighboring, all the way around him, it was raining fire and brimstone. He went through it. He was in this. Why? It was burning the neighborhood fields, because it says that all the plain and all the inhabitants of the city and that which grew upon the ground did God overthrow with the fire and the brimstone. It wasn't until Lot seen all this and Lot went up out of Zoar. This is a little bit after. Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain. Okay, so he had already went through the fire and brimstone, and then finally he went up to the mountain. So he didn't escape the wrath. He went through it, but he was just sealed and protected. Okay. Now to Enoch. Enoch was translated 600 years before the flood, not right before. Okay, he was translated 600 years before. And he walked with God for 300 years. He didn't just bing, bang, boom, disappear. In fact, it's not a disappearing trick. This is, okay, what I'm trying to tell you guys is we're going to go through the tribulation. Okay? The scriptures that they give, no matter how complicated they try to figure or try to get you to think it has to do with the rapture, it's simple. All you have to do is just look at the word, and it'll tell you. Enoch was translated 600 years before the flood, not right before. And he also had to walk with God 300 years. So he didn't just get translated all of a sudden. He had to go through the deaths and the baptisms of Christ. Elijah ascended after going through the tribulation of his time. No, it doesn't represent pre or mid, because he went through the tribulation. And it doesn't represent mid because some say, well, he only went 3.5 years and then he was out of here. No. See, Elijah started that tribulation, that famine, that death by his word. And he also ended that tribulation with his word. So it was in his time, and it was over before he was ascended. Now, this all lines up with what Jesus said, that he'd come after the tribulation. It lines up with what Paul said in 2 Thessalonians chapters 1 and 2, that when Jesus comes, he'll destroy the Antichrist, and we will be glorified. And if you read them 2 chapters closely, when it talks about the day of the Lord, it tells you what has to happen. There has to be a falling away. The man of sin is revealed, then the Lord comes, destroys him, and he also is magnified in his servants and glorified in them. He's glorified in them, and he gathers them, just like it says in Matthew chapter 24. In Revelation, we are sealed as we go. See, in the beginning, in chapter 7, the 144,000 are mentioned. In chapters 7 and go still all the way, and are mentioned again in chapter 14. So it's like a fulfilling out. They were sealed at the beginning, but just like at the boat, Noah was sealed in it. If Noah would have got out, he would have drowned. If Lot would have looked back, he would have died. Or if he would have not escaped, he would have died. But see, Noah was sealed as the waters rose. And just as these bowls and vials and trumpets are blown, we're sealed as we go. And it's many seals, but it's like one complete seal. Even the Church of Philadelphia and Smyrna, they're mentioned in chapters 2 and 3, and then also in chapter 11. You say, well, it doesn't say that. Yeah, it does. It calls these 7 churches at the beginning, which Smyrna and Philadelphia are mentioned, candlesticks, the 7 candlesticks. But 5 of them he wasn't pleased with, and 2 of them he was. And as you go further into chapter 11, it says, these are the 2 candlesticks standing. So 2 of them were standing, and they're mentioned again in chapter 11, and they're killed by the beast. The Church of Philadelphia don't leave out of here. Neither does Smyrna. They get killed. Over and over again, even in Luke chapter 21, verse 36, where it says, pray always that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things. That word escape means to run away, flee from. It doesn't mean to it doesn't mean escape everything through a disappearing trick. It means to flee from them, because if you read the 2 verses above, it talks about the snares of this world catching people unawares. And he said that you may escape all these things. That means there's one thing after another thing after another thing that you're going to have to flee from, run away from, because you don't want to be caught up in the snares of this life. And as in the days of Noah, where they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day Noah entered into the ark, or entered into the ark of repentance. See, wherein few 8 souls were saved by water. See, this is what's happening. Evil spirits are being poured out, and people are being taken by them, taken by the snares. And only when we stay in the ark of repentance will we keep rising as these temptations and snares rise, because these evil spirits are going to take over men's minds. They're going to be seducing spirits, murdering, thieving, raping, fornicating, adultering spirits. Spirits that people normally wouldn't given over to, they're going to be given over to. And when the people of God see this, they're going to be repenting. And it's going to keep lifting them above the water. Now, if they get out, they're going to be caught in them snares. But as they keep repenting, they're going to keep rising above it. Keep rising above it as the wrath and the temptations are increased. We keep repenting and rising as it rises. But we're not taken out of here. In fact, Jesus said, I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them from the evil. See, and they also use that in Revelation chapter 3, verse 10, where it says, pray, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation. That word keep means to guard. Now, why would God have to guard you if he just disappeared you out of here and took you to heaven? He wouldn't, because you're with him in heaven. But that word keep means to guard. And that that word from in the Greek can mean through. So he can guard you through the hour of temptation. And also, too, it's the same two Greek words that I just mentioned in John chapter 7. It says, I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them from the evil. Keep from the evil. Doesn't mean remove from the evil. It means keep them from. The same two Greek words. So it means to guard from the evil or guard through the evil. I hope this helps open up some understanding to you. God bless.